when we started looking at the data at CN, we saw that only about 8% of the railroading workforce is female. And in the unionized population, it's even lower. It's around 5%. And so opening up opportunities like the League of Railway Women provides a host of benefits, including education, networking, and the opportunity to promote the industry outside of your current job. So whether you're in IT or environmental, right? You have that opportunity to network with others that might be taking a different career path in the industry, but it really gives you a flavor of what is out there. And I think, as an employer, it's helpful to provide those development opportunities.
You may know the American Railway Engineering and Maintenance of Way Association, or AREMA, as the, quote, keepers of the manuals. You may know them as the, quote, people behind the largest annual railroad conference in North America. Heck, you may not know about AREMA at all. This podcast is designed, no pun intended, to change your view of who AREMA is and how AREMA has changed the trajectory of many railway careers over its 100-plus year history. Welcome to Platform Chats with your host, Walt Blesser, where he takes a moment to discuss the impacts AREMA has had on the very people who are proud to be called members. Are you ready to roll with AREMA?
ARE Corporation is a proud supporter of AREMA and Platform Chats. If you are looking to take your railway structures career to the next level, or simply start it down the right track, please visit us at arecorp.com. Please see our brand new job postings on our careers page or on our LinkedIn page.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Platform Chats. I am your host, Walt Blesser, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but this is episode number 40. I just got back from the Railway Bridge Symposium, RBS for short. I guess I had a good case of RBS. 320 others did, because that was how many people we had in Fort Worth. It was an incredible turnout. Maybe it was 319. I'm going to call it 320. Sounds better. It is a record in attendance for an AREMA-led symposium. And so just a quick background there. AREMA has the national conference every fall. Obviously, they're in charge of all the technical committees, but they have been doing a series now of annual symposiums, and each functional group gets to do one depending on the order. Track has done one, I think the Roadway Ballast Symposium. Last year, we had, I believe it was Engineering Services / Committee 13 Environmental, did a Sustainability Symposium in Tampa. That was a hit. And our attendance has been between 200 and 250. And we got 320 in Fort Worth for the structures one. So kudos to all of you that showed up. And a bigger kudos to the massive amount of volunteers we had to put that together. We had an amazing number of presentations, abstracts. We're running two separate tracks of interest tracks, if you will. Had an incredible event Wednesday night at the golf thing. It was a Top Golf competitor in Big Shots Golf. Excuse me, Big Shots for saying Top Golf. And we had a ton of people there too. So thank you. That's all I want to say to that. And look forward to next year's symposium. Enough about that. This is year 5 of Platform Chats, believe it or not. So we're season 5, episode number 2. And we're going to switch from talking about symposiums like we did with the first episode. And we have 3 wonderful guests to talk about the League of Railway Women. And if you've seen, I've been doing a series over the last year or two where we're trying our best as AREMA. It's an AREMA-led podcast, but we're doing our best to reach out and give a platform, no pun intended, to our friends in the industry. And we've spoken with the Short Line Association. We've spoken with NRC. And frankly, the downloads we're getting around those episodes have been quite good. People love hearing about what the other organizations are within our industry and how can they get involved beyond just going to AREMA technical committee meetings, which I understand can be dry. That's our organization. So we have, like I said, 3 guests. I'm going to let them all introduce themselves And then we're going to get into the importance of LRW and how you can get involved with them as well. All right, I'm going to go, like I said previously when we were starting up, with we're going to go in alphabetical order with Andrea, who works for Canadian National. Let's start with you, Andrea. If you could just do a brief introduction, we'd love that.
Great. Thank you so much, Walt. It's such an honor to be on your podcast here today. My name is Andrea Waldock-Neathold, and I am the head of U.S. Public and Government Affairs for CN. And I'm also a director at large and the events committee co-chair with the League of Railway Women. So have the honor of being involved with LRW. I've been with CN since 2017 and have always been in government affairs. I came to the role after working for about a decade on Capitol Hill, and I got the political bug right after college and interned on the Hill early on, and then was able to work my way up to chief of staff later in my career. And it was really with that opportunity as chief of staff for Congressman Lou Barletta from Northeastern Pennsylvania that really got me into the industry. And so really enjoy what I do for CN. We have a great story to tell, a fantastic network, nearly 20,000 route miles spanning across Canada, and then nearly 7,000 miles here in the US. So very much a US railroad down here. And I really am pleased to have the opportunity to tell the CN story, and also to represent the industry as a member of LRW, just demonstrating how fantastic these careers are in the industry, and how they are and they should be accessible to everyone. So really, really glad to be here today on the podcast. And I guess I'll just kind of end with, I've lived on Capitol Hill for almost 20 years. I raised my family on Capitol Hill. My husband and I have 3 young boys, big train enthusiasts, as you can imagine. We tell the story. There is passenger rail and there's freight rail. And so that's something that I'd like to share with viewers today. CN is one of the 6 Class 1 freight railroads. And so while we work with passenger rail, we move goods. If you wear it, if you read it, if you drive it, we pretty much have moved it. So always like to point that out. And over the past 20 years, I've been in Washington. A lot has changed, but I have to say the industry remains pretty much the same. And it's just really an honor to be here and represent CN in the industry at large.
Cool. The industry just keeps chugging along, as they say. Sorry, that was just a horrible dad joke. Thank you so much for the intro, and we're excited to have you on here. And at least there's not much going on in DC right now, is there?
No, it's pretty
it's
quiet,
right? Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
okay,
as cool. Evidenced why I'm losing my voice, right? Not much to talk about around here.
No, just status quo. All right. Speaking of that, Lisa, you're not status quo. Why don't you give us a quick intro to yourself?
Sure. Thank you so much, Walt, for the invitation to be here today and to talk about the League of Railway Women and also share a little bit about myself. I am president of the League of Railway Women, but before becoming president of the League of Railway Women, I have been working with Railroad Construction Company. We are a general contractor coming up on 100 years in business, and we are located in Paterson, New Jersey. I'm head of marketing for Railroad Construction Company, and I've been here since 2014. And prior to working for Railroad, I worked for ARIMA, actually. That's how I was introduced to the rail industry. I am not a generational railroader. I was introduced simply by luck. I landed my job at ARIMA. I started as manager of marketing and program services and eventually became director of marketing. And I was there until 2014. And I left ARIMA because I had met my husband from New Jersey, and I had to relocate. So in relocating to New Jersey, I left ARIMA and was lucky enough to land my job with Railroad Construction Company. And that's where I've been since. And we're growing significantly. We have our main office here in Paterson, where we've been for, like I said, nearly 100 years. We've moved once in our history. And we opened an office recently up in New England. We have an office in Maryland, and we have a few different offices throughout the Northeast area in New York City as well. And we're growing and we're doing great things. And I'm so excited to have LRW part of that journey for Railroad Construction Company, and also vice versa, Railroad Construction Company part of LRW's journey.
And just briefly, how long have you been president of LRW?
My term just started. So I started in January. I took over from Sarah Yoroska, who's past president now. And prior to that, I was vice president for 2 years. And before becoming vice president, I was the awards chair since I want to say 2017. I served as the awards committee chair.
Okay, cool. Well, we've got El Presidente on the show, and I love it. Moving right along, Tiffany from Holland. Why don't you give us a brief intro?
All right. Thank you. Echoing what Andrea and Lisa said, thank you for having us. Walt, thank you to ARIMA. It's great to be here to be able to talk about LRW and I guess myself. So I am Tiffany Wenrick. I'm the marketing director at Holland. We are best known for flash butt welding. So we're an OEM. We engineer, manufacture our own equipment in the US, and then we operate it in the US, Canada, and Mexico, and Australia. We do a handful of other things as well, but that's primarily what, certainly the ARIMA crowd and most people know us for. I think I have the youngest company here. We turned 90 this year. So somehow we are the youngest, but still a long tenure for our group in the industry. Myself, I joined the industry in 2017. My friend from middle school actually is in the IT department at Holland and told me about an opportunity. I had just finished my master's a handful of years earlier. I was looking to go into more of an organizational communication role. So that's how I landed at Holland. And we combined our internal, external efforts. And so now I'm the marketing director. My background was very much not in the industry. I came from leisure and hospitality. I directly worked for casino and a casino supplier prior to coming to Holland, but I am from Northwest Indiana, the region. We are the home of steel mills and plenty of miles of track. So it's my family worked in the mills, so it's kind of like a nice little marriage of my history here and the area I'm from, working in the rail industry, and I love it. And I have been involved with LRW since I started in the industry, but the last 2 years I've been the education committee co-chair. I'm also on the NRC Sustainability Committee, and I've served on the RSI Exhibitor Advisory Committee as well. So I think that's about it for me.
That's it? You don't have anything else you're doing in your spare time? You just listed like 5 organizations.
Yeah. I have a lot of animals, and the rest of the time is dedicated to taking care of it's not a farm, but that's what I call them. So
excellent. All right. That was awesome. All 3 of you have very unique backgrounds and you have different perspectives on the industry, which should make for a fantastic podcast. I'm going to start briefly. I have so many questions going through my head listening to your introductions. I want to start with something that Andrea said, and it's a fun one because I told this story a million times, and thankfully my wife is not here, so she doesn't have to hear it again. But many years ago, my wife's an attorney, and we were at her partner's law firm Christmas party. And as you all know, everyone's walking around in tuxes, etc. And the question always comes up to the spouse: well, what do you do, right? Like, what do you? And some lawyers have some egos; they're very into what they do. That's fine. And I'm like, well, I work in the rail industry, And this gentleman's wife looks at me and goes, "Oh, my kids love Thomas the Train. Are you familiar with that?" And I'm just like, well, yeah. Actually, my wife just keeps me in the basement, and I just build train sets all day, and she pays me to do it. No, but like my point of that story is that's kind of when you talk to the Joe off the street, right, who does not work like the 4 of us in the industry. Some people are shocked that there is one. They don't realize it. But Andrea did a great job talking about The fact that everything you're wearing, what you drove, etc., has probably been moved on rail. And so I'm going to hit her first because she is with the owner's perspective. Um, we're talking about League of Railway Women. What value does CN, for example, place on their employees being active in groups like this, and why do they see activity in an organization like this as being a good thing for their company and their culture?
Well, that's a really great question, Walt. CN is a platinum member of the League of Railway Women. There are different levels of membership, and as a platinum member, our membership is really open to all of CN. So if you work for CN and you'd like to join LRW, there's a way to sign up free of charge outside of our sponsorship. So I think that is a great benefit for CN. And when we started looking at the data at CN, we saw that only about 8% of the railroading workforce is female. And in the unionized population, it's even lower. It's around 5%. And so opening up opportunities like the League of Railway Women provides a host of benefits, including education, networking, and the opportunity to promote the industry outside of your current job. So whether you're in IT or environmental, right? You have that opportunity to network with others that might be taking a different career path in the industry, but it really gives you a flavor of what is out there. And I think, as an employer, it's helpful to provide those development opportunities, right? We have busy day jobs in this industry. It is a full contact sport, we like to say, 24/7, right? Making sure that we run a safe operation. And so opportunities to develop your people and really to find synergies that you might not have otherwise recognized is also another benefit of being an LRW member. So I'm proud to work for CN, proud to have the opportunity to hold a leadership position within LRW as well, supported by our leadership at CN.
Awesome. That's an awesome answer, and I love the statistics around it. I heard 8%, so I'm going to go back up here to the president. What is your membership, and maybe even take a step back. When did LRW form? I thought it was like 1997. I could be wrong about that. I did do a quick check on the internets. How many people are a part of it? Talk about the demographics of LRW and what you think the importance is, and I'll shut up.
Well, if you don't mind, I'll take that question so Andrea can take a break here. I do have some numbers for you that I got before the podcast. Our total members are, we've got 2,054 members, and that is a huge increase from where we started when we were established in 97. You are correct. And since then, we've grown substantially. Not only do we have over 2,000 individual members, but we also have 67 corporate partners. And our corporate partners range from platinum down to patron. So we're very accommodating with any budget. I should say we're budget friendly when it comes to picking out a membership. CN is one of our platinum members. And with that partnership or membership, you have unlimited individual members. So as a platinum partner, you receive unlimited individual memberships for individuals of CN to join and be part of LRW and get involved in committees, do speaking engagements, run for board positions. We have a lot of different ways for our members to be active members within LRW, because there's one thing about joining an organization, but it's another to actually be involved in an organization. And that's where you really get the benefit from it. I'm sure anyone can say this that has been involved in an organization. You see members that join just to simply say they've joined, but then you see a lot of members that really take that to another level and get really involved. And I'm lucky to say that a lot of our members with LRW do get involved. And it's nice to see a different mix because we have representation from all over the industry, from IT to people that are out in the field. We have representation from across the board. And it's interesting to learn from those different members and hear their perspective on what their job is like, and to even learn about those opportunities in the industry that you might otherwise not know about.
Yeah, and it's all obviously it's all women. And I'm sorry, I think I called you Andrea Lisa. My apologies.
It's okay.
I don't know if you all heard in the podcast, my jaw hit the table when you said 2,054 members.
Yeah,
That's awesome. I mean, that means you're reaching, like it's working. You're reaching the workforce, and the demographics. I assume is everything from consultants to owners and everywhere in between. Is that correct?
that's
Okay.
correct. We
Okay.
have our partners, and in fact, I would like to give a shout out to our 6 platinum partners, if you don't mind, CN, which we've
Sure.
already spoken to, CPKC, CSX, Greenbrier Companies, MetroLink, and Trinity Rail are our 6 platinum partners, and with them, we're very thankful for their support and their individual membership as well that we get from their colleagues within their companies. So we always welcome new members, whether it's an individual member or if it's a corporate partner. If you're interested in getting involved, please check out the website. It's railwaywomen.org, and all the information is there. I don't know what kind of links will be up with the podcast, but if you want to supply that somewhere within the information of the podcast, please do so, Walt, because we are always looking for new members, new ways to promote LRW. If you have an idea, please bring it to us, because we get really involved, and sometimes the simplest idea we overlook because we're so involved in other things, and it takes a new perspective or someone that hasn't been involved for a long time to just say, hey, why not try this? That's a great idea. So you never know what you might get by bringing new members in. And again, like I said, we love active members as well, because it's just another way of promoting yourself, but also helping promote LRW within your own company or within your own network.
I did not hear you say BNSF in that list. So, Miss Farmer, the CEO, I hope she's listening. Like, let's get going here. I'd love to see a West Coast Railroad as a platinum sponsor as well. I think the involvement that you're talking about is, it's hard to put it all into words. We'll be here forever. What you can gather. Now, I am going to take it to Tiffany on this one too. Maybe speak briefly as to the value you see. It could be what Holland sees, but what you as a person see as being an active member in LRW, and maybe speak briefly to what does LRW do? Like ARIMA, we're known for the committees and the technical documentation that we maintain, and we have the big conference in the fall for that. What does LRW do?
All right, I'm going to start with that, and then Then I will move on to the value I derive from it. So when I joined, it was really, and I think it's still very focused on bringing people together, I think is ultimately what it is, right? So when I joined, there was a handful of maybe a mixer here, or there'd be a group at an event, and Lisa already spoke to the numbers, right? The membership has just blown up in the last handful of years, and so has the activity and the presence of LRW in the industry. So still very focused on bringing people together from across the industry, and that's predominantly women, but we still have men who are members and who come to our educational events, in person, online, etc. So we, I've had the opportunity to, be a part of, our education committee. So I guess I'm kind of going to dovetail these two pieces together. What I derive in that. So on the education committee, my co-chair is from Canada. She's in ops at the Yes. It's a Rio Tinto Railroad up in Sept-Îles. It is way, way, way out there in Canada. And, when I get to talk to Christine, I'm getting such a different perspective on what's happening in the industry, right? From what she's doing to what I'm doing. And LRW helps bring those pieces together. So a lot of, Andrea spoke to the mix of, women broadly, and then the mix in the trade jobs. Holland is similar, and the industry, I think, broadly is similar. So at Holland, women are very overrepresented in accounting, marketing, different HR, right? Those types of places, departments, I guess, in the organization, and not so much in the, field, the engineering and those types of things. And LRW, we get to bridge that gap, and people who are in the softer side or softer skills side of the industry, I was air quoting there, can go ahead and learn so much more about the operations side, the engineering side, all of that stuff that really, it keeps the goods moving. It keeps the people moving safely. And I think that's really great, because for us to do our jobs well, I think we need to know those things. And it's not always in our own organizations that there are opportunities for us to do that. So that's one thing that I think, obviously we provided LRW, but is also a great benefit to me, because making those connections and really understanding the industry at a greater depth, I think is just essential for everyone, no matter what your role is, to succeed and do well. So
that's a cool answer, because I didn't know that. So you really spoke to to other, ARIMA is obviously very engineering heavy, as you all probably know. And I love the fact that someone that works in finance or accounting who they may not see the biggest picture of what the railway does. And this provides them that insight and frankly, camaraderie and
yes,
the ability to see, like you said, ARIMA was formed so many years ago, but it was a sharing of information. Like, specifically for me with bridges, it's like, well, have you seen this problem under this loading? And one guy in Phoenix might have never seen something that a guy in Florida saw because of whatever. So does anybody want to pile on to what Tiffany said? Because she just said a lot of cool stuff. I can go back to the owner's perspective, or Lisa, either one of you.
So I'm happy to hop in, just because as the events co-chair at LRW, I do work closely with Tiffany as the education co-chair, because when we look at hosting events for our LRW members, we really are looking for education opportunities. And I think something to point out that's really important is that LRW is not a social club, right? Like, we're not getting together and, sharing stories over cocktails or over lunch. There is an education element to our programming. And so I'll use the example of our annual symposium, which is something that we have started to develop over the past 3 years to make it very much a networking, but also a professional development opportunity for our members. And last year, our theme for the symposium was, what is your why? And really having our members and even our non-members, because our LRW symposium is also open to non-members as well. But the theme of the conference really asked our attendees to think about where they fit in the industry. Maybe they're happy with what they're doing now. Maybe they're not in the industry and they're thinking about a career in railroading. And so having panelists and workshops, we had a branding workshop. I think it really amplifies our mission at LRW, which is to grow and support women in rail. And also having our allies there, as Tiffany said, it's not just a women's club. We have male members and male contributors, and I think that creates for a really rich, dynamic league. And so as we look to develop more programming this year, we have networking events with usually a theme and a speaker. And we also are looking at hosting field trips across the network. And let me just say, kind of wearing my CN government affairs hat, I think one of the best values when I'm meeting with lawmakers or speaking with lawmakers is actually getting out onto the network and seeing the railroad in action, whether that's in a rail yard or in an intermodal yard, a mechanical shop. And so these LRW field trips are really a hybrid between Tiffany's committee and the events committee, where we were in Mexico, for instance, last year. We have a strong component down in Mexico and had a field trip for about a dozen LRW women, learning about what they call shuttle wagons. And so, if anyone is listening here today and is thinking, oh, I work at a location that would make a great, field trip opportunity, we'd love to hear more about it, because I think getting out and learning and seeing is believing, right? I think is an important part of what we do. And so,
Okay.
Lisa, I don't know if I saw that, I'm not sure if you have more to add to that, but yeah, really getting out in the field, I think is really important.
Yeah, Lisa, please pile on. This is your opportunity for a shameless plug for
Sure.
any upcoming events. Please do.
Sure. So I was just going to speak from experience. Last year, we put together a field trip to one of our members' Wheelworks, and it was an opportunity to go to their facility in Pekin, Illinois, where they flew in actually one of their female coworkers, and she gave us a tour of this facility. And it's basically a freight car wheel shop where they refurbish freight car wheels, and it was a whole production, and we were able to experience that. Now, that has nothing to do with what I do in my day job, but to learn more about railroading from that perspective only adds value to my position with LRW, but also my position in the industry. And it was an educational opportunity, also an opportunity to network and meet more people that I otherwise might not get to meet. And I learned a lot about the refurbishing of wheels on freight cars and what it means to turn wheels. And I didn't realize all of the different things that go into that one part of the entire manufacturing of a freight car. That's just one component, and there are so many other components that go into it. And that's one thing I really enjoy about this industry is there are a lot of different areas that all come together to bring one piece to use, whether it's a freight car or if it's building the railroad, which we do at Railroad Construction Company, and we use Holland as a subcontractor. So it's a great way to also see those connections with the suppliers and the subcontractors and the Class 1 railroads also, to see how they utilize these different subs or contractors like Railroad Construction Company. It's really another way of learning about the industry from a different perspective.
Very cool. So so maybe I did hear this is the No Fun Club. I did hear that from Andrea. There will be no socializing, no fraternizing, just learning.
Hey, I wasn't that specific.
Oh, okay. All right. Good. No, obviously, I have attended the LRW when you guys present your Woman of the Year. Is there an annual event? If there's someone listening that knows nothing about you guys, obviously they go to their website. But like the ARIMA's giant conference, right? Is there something like that you do each? Like NRC kicks off every year, the first week of the year, they've got a big thing. Shortline Association does the same thing. Do you have something like that, or are you constantly dropping in on different areas like you just described?
It's both. I would say we are very involved with the other organizations, and if they are open to incorporating a session or a breakout session within their program, we often take them up on that opportunity because it's a way for us to give our members a chance to speak or be involved in an event. We have started partnering with NRC. This past year was our third year presenting our Woman of the Year at their conference, and it's gone very well. They offer a wonderful audience that we are still working to build ourselves. So it really gives the Woman of the Year the recognition she deserves throughout the industry, because NRC is a well-known organization that's been established for a while. So LRW does have our annual symposium, which Andrea spoke about, and we will have another one this year. We're looking to have that in June in Chicago. More details to come. But that is what our one event is that we are trying to make as our own standalone event. But again, we are always open to opportunities to help get the LRW name out there or have speaking opportunities, panels. And again, we look for the educational opportunity in those speaking opportunities. So it's not just about getting LRW's name out there, but it's also about educating members of different associations about whatever the topic might be.
Well, Tiffany, way to go. You really put the ball on the tee, and your co-presenters ran with it. What else you got on your mind, Tiffany, that we missed? I saw your wheel. I thought I saw wheels spinning in your head there.
Yeah, my wheels are always turning, but sometimes they go a little too fast, and then they fly off. So so apologies there, but no, I mean I think that just I'm thinking about an event last fall and REREC at the Railroad Environmental Conference at University of Illinois. And I had never attended. I'm on the NRC Sustainability Committee. I do some of our sustainability reporting stuff at Holland. So there's just, there was like, an interest for me, but I'm not an engineer. And I went to represent LRW, ended up getting to sit on a panel, little last minute, but it was awesome. So grateful to Ann Walsh, who was the moderator from UP, and my co-panelist there. But it was just I would have never, I live 2 hours away, but I would have never gone to that conference if I wasn't a member of LRW. And I met people that I am going to continue to collaborate with in other ways. And I got to meet people who are, from maybe some of the larger engineering firms. There were a lot of women there who worked in the permitting side and those different types of things, who they understand railroad to the extent that they have to deal with certain things about it, but they don't necessarily see, all of those other pieces, right? And they don't see, where they necessarily fit into our broader industry as women. And those were great conversations to have. So, I learned a lot. We got to connect. We do have fun, I swear. But that was just it. The educational piece, like I am on the education committee, but I think just overall, it's just so central to what we do.
Cool. That's actually, I enjoyed that. I like the story that you went up to REREC and not knowing much about it and got quite a bit out of it. Now, have you, and I could be off base here, has LRW done a panel discussion at ARIMA? Or is that not happened?
I don't believe we've done a panel or a breakout session at ARIMA, but we used to do a networking hour. That was at the end of one of the conference days, and it was an opportunity for women to get together, and men. It wasn't just limited to women, but it was, and we've also grown a lot since then. So we always appreciated the cocktail or networking hour that was hosted by ARIMA after some of the conference sessions. It was towards the end of the event, if I'm not mistaken, but that is where I think our involvement with ARIMA and all of the ARIMA headquarters, the women at HQ are members of ARIMA.
Beth and company. All right, have we determined who the 2025 Woman of the Year is going to be? I'm not looking for a reveal. But when does that get announced? Or did you just do that at NRC? Did I catch that?
We just announced our 2024 Woman of the Year at NRC in 25. So not to be confused, it was our 24 Woman of the Year, and our call for nominations is usually open in the fall.
Fall. Okay. So if you know someone that you think would fit the bill, I remember I mentioned prior to starting to record, I helped someone get that back in, we think it was 2017. Big honor to have that award. Really cool to have that and to be recognized by your peers and to further be recognized by female peers if it's as a female. I don't know. I think the whole thing is cool. I like recognition within our industry. There's probably not enough of it. So awesome.
Well, I would like to put this one plug in there for our 2024 Woman of the Year. Eleanor L.D. Aitchison, she's with Amtrak. She's actually recently retired. She retired at the end of January. But LRW was the first organization to honor her with an industry award. And she's been awarded multiple recognitions through her law career, but never once within the industry. So it was an honor to be able to give her that recognition at NRC right before she retired, to give her that award and to let her know that what you've done for Amtrak and all of the ADA things that you've implemented and just growing representation for underrepresented groups within Amtrak has been phenomenal. And we were really honored to give her that Railway Woman of the Year award right before retiring.
That's cool. Yeah. Have a good, thanks for a great career. And we saw what you were doing. That is cool. I appreciate that plug. And if you look at the list of the winners, it's nothing to slouch at. These are very accomplished individuals, and it's pretty cool. All right, well, I got to tell you what, we're pretty much up on time. I probably could keep on going. This has been a super fun and easy podcast to put together just because there's just been a lot to talk about. Does anyone have a final word? All three of you can say something, or all three of you don't have to say anything. It's up to you.
I'll go ahead and say thank you so much for having us again for this opportunity to talk about LRW. I would just like to add, if you're interested in getting involved, starting my career with ARIMA, I've seen firsthand the importance of giving back. And this industry is so fantastic. It's a small industry, but it's a very close-knit industry. And with safety being at the forefront of everything we do, we always want to come together in a safe way. And if you want to get involved with LRW, I highly encourage your membership, participation. Send one of us an email. Please don't be shy. This organization has done great things for my career personally and professionally. It's built up my own confidence, and I've met incredible people along the way, people that I might not meet otherwise. So that alone, in my book, is enough to join. But other people might feel otherwise. And there's a lot of other reasons to join besides that. And again, thank you so much, Walt, for this opportunity.
Absolutely. That was a heck of a plug. If anyone's going to follow that, let me know. Excuse me. But I think that was quite good. All right, cool. I appreciate having all of you on. I appreciate all of you taking an hour from your day to sit here and chat with us and inform everybody about LRW. And I hope to see you. Maybe I can make that event in June. Who knows?
Thank you for rolling with ARIMA on today's episode of Platform Chats. For further information about ARIMA, please visit arema.org or contact us at info@arema.org.